What's up, everyone? This is FSP. It's Fun Speculation. I forgot the name of our channel. Fun Speculation Podcast. Thanks for tuning in to the stream and the show and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, we're going to have some fun tonight. Psycho's not here. He is a little under the weather. But we do have a awesome 4-person panel here, and there's lots to talk about. I mean, there's not a lot of news today. But still lots to talk about because this is going to be a big week, I believe. So we're going to get into, CMA and their, I guess, imminent approval of the ABK acquisition. We'll talk some about some of the other stuff been going on as well. But I appreciate you all being here as well. If you did see that we have a new intro on the channel, and we're going to have that on our different shows and streams and stuff. And I got to thank my beautiful wife, Kate, for spending a lot of time this weekend getting that stuff done. Just spontaneously did the work again because she's amazing and helps us look professional. Because if it was up to me, this show and everything we do here would look like ass. So I'm glad that I married somebody that had some talent, and glad she got that done for us. So appreciate it, babe, and hope you guys like it. And
you do everything in paint.
Yeah, everything. It'd be like, you should see when I first came up with the idea of Fun Speculation, I didn't know how to do any graphic stuff, so I just brought up like a some app that had a paint thing on it, and I just did like the FS, I was like, FS, oh, I want it like this, and it was all like just hand drawn with finger, and I was like, hey, this is what I want, babe. And she was like, okay, but can we make it look
nice,
better? I'm like,
better?
yeah, but have at it. But yeah, I'm happy to. We're all gathered here today for some gaming talk. I want to give a huge shout out to the chat and say thank you again for being here. You all rock. If you do like the content here on Fun Speculation, hit the like button, share it out, sub to the channel, hit the notification bell, all that cool stuff. We do have, like I said, an awesome panel here today. Most of the regulars are here. Sub 3-bit, how are you doing?
Been doing pretty good. I've been doing a lot. I've been gardening. If you guys saw last week, it was a part of my job. We got to go to like a local community, and that was really fun. But yeah, just been busy. I had some time to play Coffee Talk though, and that game is very soothing. I was playing it with my girlfriend. She was like really bored though. She was like, "What is this?" Because basically that game is all about conversations, and I mean, you're just listening to people talk. Coffee, you're serving coffee, they talk essentially. But yeah, I've been playing that game, and I've just been busy with work. That's how it's been lately. But pretty good week.
Yeah. I did see the tweets you made about gardening. And like I told these guys, I thought maybe you were arrested and had to do community service or something like that,
No, it was this part. Every few months, my job just has things that we go out and do, and we just decide to help the community and do some gardening.
Next month, we're going to be alongside the highway picking up trash.
my new job. And they have our uniform is these orange jumpsuits. They're great. They make us wear those every day. I have to protect myself with a shiv in the community shower room every day.
It was definitely unexpected.
Yeah,
it was definitely unexpected. I did not expect to be gardening, but hey, it was kind of fun. It was kind of like those some Nintendo games, where you go out and you just like, I don't know,
those games. I know what you're talking about. Nintendo is in a league of its own, apparently, according to all the regulators, because they just have family gardening games. So they don't they don't contend in the high end console gaming market.
Also, Kate, you killed it with that intro. That was really. I actually want to go back and like rewatch it. That was amazing job, Kate. That was really cool.
Yeah. Again,
props.
Thanks, babe. But yeah, thanks for being here, 3-bit. Fuzzy, how are you doing?
Doing pretty good. Glad to be here with you guys. Man, just playing mainly on my PC lately. Just kind of waiting for Star Wars to be playable next week, or later this week
Yeah,
actually. But
Thursday or Friday, something like that.
yeah, but playing some BeamNG Drive and some Undisputed. Yeah, they still have the arm fatigue in it for jabs, but still having fun with it. And then with BMG, just smashing up cars, using the force field to push them around and having them trying to outrun one of the pursuit cars I built with like a supercharger. So yeah, just having fun. And man, can't wait to get into tidbits and some of the news that, man, this week is gonna probably be a forest fire in on Twitter at least, or
Yep.
some sort of fire on Twitter, because I think there are going to be a lot of upset people on the other side of the camp. And
You're already seeing it, Fuzz. You're already seeing it, even on these posts people make about expected tomorrow or Wednesday approval from the CMA, and then I see like the most popular comment is like, "What a sad day for the gaming industry." I see like several people. What a sad day for the gaming industry. My gosh, so bad to see Microsoft actually do something good. Oh my God, what a sad day. So I can't imagine what happens on Wednesday when that news actually comes down.
Yeah, it's going to be totally
Tomorrow's supposed to get earnings call, I think, from Microsoft.
Yeah, that'll be probably a bad news day for Microsoft, probably, because it's based on 2022, where I think we'll get the financials from 2022 in there. And we all know that was a down year, so I'm not expecting a lot of positivity to come out of the financials there. I'm most curious about, was 2022 still a profitable year for the gaming division for them, or was it that bad that it actually wasn't? But we'll find out. Regardless, I don't think it really matters, because all we have to look forward to is an amazing 2023. But yeah, we'll get those tomorrow, and then Wednesday we're gonna see the CMA approval potentially. So looking forward to that. But hey, Jasper, you're here too. What's up, man?
Yep, going pretty good. Finished Dead Island last night, today, or whatever it was. I don't know. Time's weird. Finished that game, so now I just gotta get ready for Star Wars this week. So that's what I've been up to. Tried to fix my controller earlier today because stick drift is a thing, and Xbox controllers suck. But
did you get some new potentiometers for your controller? How'd you fix it?
And I just opened it up, cleaned it out, see if that fixes it. I haven't tested it yet, but we'll see. I doubt it. That usually doesn't do it. But
I hate stick drift.
Yeah, both of mine are drifting now, so it's just like not great.
Is it drifting like up, left, right?
My right stick is drifting to the left, and my left stick is drifting to the up. So,
oh man, you just turn on the game, your guy's just spinning and walking forward automatically. Oh, that's even worse. He like just looks up to the sky, spinning around. I hate it. Whenever I get stick drift, I try and fight it because I was like, this is $70 controller, you know. But I don't take my shit apart like you do.
You just need to move your stick around like.
Yeah, I do that, and then
it doesn't really work. Yeah,
it's either I can try to go back and fix my Elite controller again. Like I just said, fuck that, and went to my controller that shipped with my Series X, and I used it for a month, and then it's got stick drift. So
yeah, my Xbox Ultimate.
I just go like this with the controller, like, and it works.
I got enough random controllers laying around. I can fix it some way.
Yeah. I do. Whenever I see people that collect controllers, I'm like, those guys got it right. They'll never have to worry about stick drift. You know, me, I get it. I don't want to fork up another $70. You know, so I try and fight through it. Or $60. It's $60, right? I think.
Yes, I don't know.
I don't remember how much they are. Too expensive to be getting stick drift. That's why I won't get an Elite controller.
Yeah, I mean, my Elite controller doesn't have stick drift. I've used it for a while. It's just that both bumpers fucking suck.
Yeah. Froggy says get the extra warranty. Yeah. I probably should. Kate wants to know, can the intro be randomly played? Yeah, I can play it. Do you want me to show it off again? For those that didn't get to see it a second ago, babe. We'll show off your work again. Let's do it. Here. I'm gonna show off. Thanks again to Caitlin for our amazing new intro. Here we go. There we go. That's it again. So thanks, baby. I appreciate it. Yeah. And you'll see that we'll have a version of that for Xbox Ultimate, for PM and the PM, and all of that. So I see the chat saying get a Scuff controller. I also know that they have that Razer one that's gone on sale that was ridiculously overpriced at $200 because it has a dock. that comes
Or
with it.
Xbox could just have higher quality standards and fix their shit. But,
They could, and it's not just them though that has it. It's like every
no.
console manufacturer. At some point, they'll figure it out. You would think, right?
You would think.
It's called forced obsolescence type of thing. They want you to be able to use it, wear it out, and then replace it. That's why they make so many controllers.
Yeah.
Is it about the same price like Scuff controllers?
Scuff's a little more.
They're more like Elite controllers. I think they're a little cheaper than Elites, but they have like the paddles and shit.
Yeah.
So far, mixed reviews, at least from my son's standpoint. Got him the one that was identical to the Elite. It actually lasted a little bit longer than the Elite because of the rubber grips. The second one, I think it was kind of the opposite. I think well, at least on my end, my Elite 2 is outlast his Scuff 2. So
Yeah. I don't even know like if I've had a controller that lasted more than a year, you know, since like the Xbox One generation.
I had one controller in the Xbox One cycle where I used it so much that that rubber actually went off the analog sticks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Base Digi says, I said Scuff. They have Moldgler analog sticks. Moldgler. Is that? Am I saying that right?
Is that a word?
Moldgler. Modular.
I feel like he spelled it wrong.
Yeah, modular.
Yeah, I think it's like the PlayStation.
I think it's
where
a
you can swap them out.
mistype or whatever. Yeah, I would be interested in it. I have a hard time paying that much for a controller, but I did have a Elite Series 1 back in the Xbox One generation, and it worked for a long time. It was great. The only thing is the rubber grips on the back came off, you know?
Yeah.
And then I didn't really ever use the features for it, except I played with the magnets.
Yeah, I used to do that all the time with my Elite. I just take the analog sticks off and on while we're sitting here on a podcast.
Yeah, just play with the magnets. I mean, that's what is a fidget toy more than it was a $200 controller for me. So I could just get a fidget spinner instead, and I'd be just as happy. But yeah, I don't know if I'll buy an expensive one again.
I mean, I tried to
maybe.
play most of my controllers so they pretty much just die out. And, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then I just get them.
Hey guys,
my Master Chief controller, I just picked it up one day and the bumper fell off.
What?
you just picked it up and the bumper fell off. That
It's
happened.
like, I'm out.
That happened with my Xbox wireless headset.
Oh,
But it wasn't the bumper. I picked it up. I sit in this like recliner in the other room where I play, and I just leave the thing up, and I leave my headset there on like the leg rest, and I just picked up my headset to put it on, and the ear cuff just fucking was hanging by a wire. I was like, oh, great. And then I looked at it, and it was cracked all the way around. So I tried to use some glue and stuff, but I guess the plastic doesn't like the kind of glue,
What's weird is I'm not even like hard on my controller thing. I just set them down like when I'm done. Like I don't fucking throw them or anything. So it's just like, I don't know.
Now I went through 3 Elite ones. The first one was probably the best one, but I did stick drift, and that was because I didn't realize you don't have to always push and hold to run into Division. The first one, like this is 2016, didn't know any better. The other two, the rubber grips, like if I got them to last a year, it was amazing. I think part of it was the heat from the recharger or something that may have wore out the glue or whatever. With the Series 2, I'm on my second one. The first one I got at launch, and it died like almost to the day at 2-year mark. And well, it didn't die. The rumble in it, which I actually still like having the rumble, at least for Forza. That's the only thing that broke on that one. It had a little bit of a sticky A button in the beginning, but that kind of worked itself out. The Series 2 that I have now, knock on wood, it's been pretty much flawless ever since. But I've dropped that other one a few times. This one, I only put it in the recharger thing. It's like I don't put it on the table, don't put it on the armrest, don't put it on the chair or anything like that. It just goes right back into the charging thing because I've knocked it off of all the other stuff, or the previous one off of other stuff. And the bumpers popped out, didn't break permanently, but at least popped out, and was lucky enough to be able to get them back in. And I don't want to go through that again.
I've had bumpers stick and buttons stick, but I've never had a button pop off. That's a new one for me. I've never picked up a controller and just randomly had a button fall off of it.
Yeah, none of my buttons ever. That's crazy.
Mhm.
Are you playing some fighting games or something?
No, I just picked it up. One night I was playing with it. The next morning I woke up, started playing with it, and it fell off right when I picked it up. I was like, okay.
You had a
Sounds like
gremlin.
you're a button masher.
You had a gremlin come to your house and start fucking with your controllers.
Well, he can fucking go away.
All right, so I guess this is a gaming. Well, this is a gaming topic. Controllers,
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a show where we're going to be discussing some gaming topics here. So let's get into one. This
Talk
week
about Disney again.
Disney again. You want to talk about Disney? I did. Okay.
I'm kidding.
I know. I did watch Ant-Man the other day. Finally.
I saw that.
It was all right. It was okay. I did wonder when the whole time I was watching though, I was wondering, man, what the fuck are they going to do about Kang?
Oh yeah.
Yes, Jonathan Majors is.
Is it official that they're replacing him?
Yeah.
I think they're going to have to, because I don't think that they. I don't know if they can really go forward with him now with Jonathan Majors.
But
there's a little bit.
The thing is with Kang, they set it up in a way where there's multiple Kangs already, so they
but it's all him.
Easiest casting ever, huh?
But it's all him.
Yeah, but they can't get around that because John Krasinski was playing Mr. Fantastic, and supposedly it's going to be Adam Driver now, so they can't get away with that. We did see a stadium full of Jonathan Majors, maybe. So I don't know how they're going to do it. But I do have a feeling that they'll just probably do a variant thing and get around it that way.
I'll play King.
You'll play Kang?
Yeah.
Okay. You are a villain. I mean, you have been arrested recently, and
it's hard for me to like when you guys was when Pong was on Xbox Ultimate and you guys was asking me to do like a poker face, I couldn't do it. But that's just because if I'm around people I know, it's harder for me to act.
Yeah. That was fun. Xbox Showcase Fable. Yeah, nice poker face. You did a better job that time.
Yeah, I did this,
Xbox Showcase Perfect Dark.
Just look away.
Contraband.
Just look at every
just doing poses now.
Vogue.
They could always make Kang wear like a helmet or some shit and just like hide his face.
Yeah.
So CMA, everybody. CMA is article after articles dropping right now saying that CMA is set to probably announce their approval of the ABK acquisition for Microsoft. And like I said, there's already, every time somebody tweets out one of these articles, then we see that people, there's some in the gaming audience out there that aren't happy about it. Say, oh, what a sad day for gaming and all that kind of stuff. I'm quite damn happy about it, to be honest with you, because that means, hey, as a gamer, we get more games in Game Pass. Besides that, people aren't losing anything. But it seems like CMA had come to their senses a while back when they told Sony that they were insignificant in their arguments and that they were only really focusing on the cloud. So this approval is probably going to have some concessions involving the cloud, and maybe those 10-year licensing deals that Microsoft signed with these different companies and stuff like that. And I think after that, I mean, the EC is probably soon to follow. And then New Zealand delayed again, like they keep doing. And I think it's probably because they just want to wait to
and make
see
their decision off everyone else.
Wait and see what everybody else says and just chalk it up.
They
to,
don't-
hey, okay.
They don't want to do it first, I guess. Is that why?
I
Did they
don't
say
know.
a reason why they delay, or are they just like, we delayed?
I don't know. That'd be weird if like they were the one territory that didn't approve it, and we can no longer move to New
No.
Zealand for our early playing times. You know, We can't go there because they don't have Call of Duty in New Zealand. Yeah, no, I think New Zealand will pass it too. It's just a matter of time. I think they extended it to June something.
Yeah.
Yeah, June 9th,
June
I think.
9th. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Still before the showcase, so
yeah, this is gonna be a big deal on Wednesday. It's gonna be a big deal. You're gonna see a lot of excitement, a lot of hype. You're gonna see some doomsday articles from some media, probably. You're gonna see some articles talking about how it's good for ABK as well and stuff like that. But you're gonna see talk start shifting from any kind of doubt to just like a foregone conclusion about the ABK deal, I think, on Wednesday, because once the CMA was the biggest question all along, right? That was the one that people were putting they're the ones that could try and put a wrench in this whole thing. But once theirs is done, it's kind of smooth sailing. And that's what it's going to be, I think, big news. Do we start to see a more quick momentum after this CMA approval on Wednesday, Fuzz?
I think we do. Like it's almost like dominoes at that point. There's really no need, based on the previous arguments of some of the competition and stuff like that, for anybody to decline this. There really isn't going to be harm to the consumer or even to competition. CMA was probably the ones that were lobbied the hardest by Sony. And once they give the approval, it's almost going to be like, well, if they don't have an issue, why would we have an issue, kind of thing. So yeah, I think EU maybe a week later, if not a couple of days later, and then everybody but the FTC by the beginning of June, and then the FTC is going to be like, no, we're going to court, I guess, and watch Microsoft close on top of them, kind of thing.
I guess since New Zealand was delayed till June, that doesn't mean that you have to like wait till June to announce it. So like theoretically, they could just needed like an extra week, and like you could hear about it in a couple of weeks. So
yeah,
it gives them some pad time to be one of those dominoes.
And since like even though they're independent now, but like they were part of the UK, so I'm sure they still have those close connections. So they're probably just waiting on their old bosses to be like, yeah, here you go.
I wonder what all the people that have been saying it's never going to happen are going to say on Wednesday. Because there's so many of those people that have been saying never in a million years will this deal go through. Like people that are listening
they've been
to the
quiet
wrong
lately.
info.
A lot of those people
they've
have been
writing
quiet
letters
lately.
to Biden.
Yeah, I mean they'll change the narrative to the FTC, like the FTC's being paid off or some bullshit like that. It's just like,
you think that?
Yeah.
They'll move the goalpost. They always do.
Yeah, they've moved the goalpost so much that it's in the fucking parking lot at this point. The goalpost, they're gonna have to build a new stadium around this goalpost. It's moved so damn far with Xbox. I even see this bugs me too. I know it's a little shift of course here, but like I started thinking about this the other day. I got a comment on one of our shows, and it made me start thinking about it because there's been so much criticism of Game Pass, right? Like in the industry, and what is it doing for the gaming and all of this stuff. And I had a realization moment the other day that the only reason that conversation exists is because Game Pass is so good. Because PlayStation has a subscription service. Nintendo has a subscription service. EA has a subscription service. Ubisoft has a subscription service. Amazon has a subscription service. There's several fucking Apple even has a subscription service. All these gaming companies have subscription services, but the one that people talk about is like bad for gaming is Microsoft's and Xbox's, and the reasoning is really nothing other than
because
it provides.
No one's ever heard of the other ones.
It provides too much. It provides too much value for the consumer, and I'm like, and I was really thinking about it. I was like, have we as a gaming community gotten to the point where we are against value? Like
a lot of people
does it make sense?
It's really weird. Like again, like a lot of these people, a lot of these Sony, it's mostly Sony fanboys. There's a difference between Sony fans and Sony fanboys, right? Sony fans they like it, you know, but they won't cap for things that are hurting them in a necessary way. But Sony fanboys will like, all Game Pass is you're renting games. You're renting games, and Game Pass has no value, and it's going to hurt games in the future. Like that's their narrative right now. For a lot of Sony fanboys are basically saying,
yeah, but those same people subscribe to PlayStation Plus Extra and to Nintendo
know,
Switch
that doesn't matter.
online.
Even if you were
like
renting
That's
games,
too much logic, man.
Even if you were renting games, who the fuck cares? Like people used to do it all the fucking time. Like that's Blockbuster's whole fucking business was renting shit. So it's like,
but when I was a kid, my little ass was in Blockbuster, like trying to pick out which game to rent. You know what I mean? The thing is, here you don't have to take it fucking back. You know, like eventually they remove some games, you know, and they put new ones in there. But like the first party games stay in there forever. Unless it's like a Forza with like licensing stuff, but like it's just weird, man. It's like weird energy, and it was like a realization moment. Is like it's the only reason people have an issue with Game Pass, and they talk shit about Xbox so much and with the Game Pass model, is that it's too good.
Well, we saw how some of the people changed their tune once, you know, PlayStation merged PS Plus and PS Now together. They were like, "Oh, this is more value. This is what, you know, a subscription service should be like." And it's like, wait a minute. So before Game Pass was bad, now PS Plus and PS Now are one. Oh, subscriptions are good. Oh, I see. So it comes down to whatever their platform preference is. If it's not on their platform, they don't like it. It's the worst thing ever. It's bad for gaming. Oh, Microsoft's involved. Oh, it's really bad for gaming because Bill Gates and, you know, the year 2000 or whatever. It's like,
I mean, shouldn't the conversation be them asking for their subscription services to be better, like Game Pass?
They're
like,
no, because they know Sony is not going to like this. Like Sony just took Spider-Man off of their PSN Plus service,
right?
Like,
which
if you make your competition worse, then yours will eventually be better.
I just don't get it, like, because you have Game Pass, which is amazing, right? Playing a PlayStation game in there a lot right now with MLB The Show, which isn't in PS Plus. So there's all these things, right? You got to wait for over a year to get your game in there from first party, and then come to find out now even your first party games are going to leave, right? So it's like I still don't understand the real big selling point for PS Plus Extra. And I tried it when it came out, and I think the only thing
it's just
I can
Spider-Man leaving, right?
Yes, so far.
So
yeah,
first party.
Maybe it's a license thing. You think with Marvel?
Because like Disney just got the Spider-Man movies for their thing, so maybe they had to work out some kind of like new contract, and maybe that's why it got removed. I don't know.
But if that's the case,
I feel like it just got removed because they're about to have the second one and they want to make money. Like I feel like they do that all the time to like for example with Last of Us 2, you know, they remade the game like the third time. But like I feel like it's just one of those things.
The thing is, when there's been licensing issues with games and Game Pass from first party from Microsoft, they've come out and said something about it. Like
yeah, but you know Sony's not going to do that. They don't.
Like Quantum Break, they just addressed that. Hey, there's a licensing stuff where we're trying to work it out. It'll be back, right? That was a thing that happened. Okay. Forza, they warn us like, hey, this licensing thing with the cars, we can't do anything about it. It's on sale for fucking $3 right now if you want to buy it. You know what I mean? So that way, you know, you get to keep it still. These kind of different kind of things they do, you know. But like Spider-Man's is like, hey, leaving the service is Spider-Man. There's no like real addressing there. So if it was a licensing issue though, I mean, I don't want to put it out there, but like I'm just saying, like Marvel owns the rights to Spider-Man, right? Does that, if there was a licensing issue at some point, would that open the door for Microsoft to potentially force the issue with Marvel to get Spider-Man games on Xbox? Because they did that with MLB, right? And I think Marvel and Disney, they hold the real weight of the cards there. And I don't think Sony at any point in the future would be willing to like not make the Spider-Man games, right? And their Marvel games with the risk losing them just for the sake of it potentially having to be multi-platform in the future. I don't know if that's just a thought.
I think it could just be like some licensing thing where they can't like keep it on a service. Like, I don't think it's like them losing the character or anything. I think it's just some weird like service licensing thing.
Well, they don't own the rights to the character for the games.
Yeah.
They only license it, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering, is there a future like the MLB where like the Marvel forces the issue for multi-platform for Spider-Man?
But you don't think they have like a contract already that says like, hey,
you can't allow a competitor to make a Spider-Man game because it may look bad.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there is.
I mean, knowing Sony,
there's got to be something in writing somewhere, because the whole deal, even with the Avengers, you couldn't get Spider-Man on other platforms. So
yeah, but that was it's an Avengers deal that they think they signed. But like Spider-Man's in Midnight Suns, right? True. And it's multi-platform.
Yeah,
that would
Sony
be
doesn't own Sony only owns the movie rights.
Yeah,
like that's but I'm sure there's some contracts like the Avengers thing, where they try to make it seem like they do, like they do.
Yeah,
own it, but
I'm just in the back of my mind with what Xbox did with MLB, the fact that we are playing a Sony first-party game yearly in Game Pass day one.
But I'm sure fucking Disney likes that Spider-Man money that Sony's pulling in for them. So
they do, but they would like even more.
I'm sure Sony would make a case that like if you allow Xbox to make it, it'll tank our sales and then you won't get as much money.
That would be their argument, right? Yeah. But like I'm playing devil's advocate for the possibilities of resting your hopes and dreams on properties that you don't own, right? Which is what Xbox.
That's Sony's whole thing.
100%, and it can come back to bite you. We've seen that with Xbox before. That it's bit them in the ass in the past, right? Studios leave.
Bit them with MLB the show. It could. Yeah, I mean, it could.
I mean, that's their whole Call of Duty argument.
Bit them with Call of Duty. Yep. So it's possible. I'm just wondering. Yeah, I'm wondering if Disney will like push them towards that. I'm sure Sony's gonna fight tooth and nail.
Yeah.
I mean,
they did
sure
also
that doesn't happen.
They did also allow Knights of the Old Republic as an exclusive for Sony, but that game's into supposedly development hell or whatever. Like the teams ended up having to be switched up, and there was word potentially that may have came from Disney after seeing the game. Who knows exactly? What? Yeah. So, but that was from Aspire.
Yeah.
I always have trouble with that studio name, Aspire. And I remember that was a big blow to Xbox when that game got announced. Knights of the Old Republic exclusive to PlayStation. Like what? A remake? Like that was crazy. I just in the day and age now where the gaming's going with being on multiple devices and all this kind of stuff, I think that some of these license holders are seeing less of an appeal for
the
FTC
may be investigating Sony's on their exclusive deals. We've heard today.
That's true, and that's Sony's doing as well. I keep seeing this too. Regarding that, like everybody's like, why is the FTC and everybody keeps saying only Microsoft and Nintendo and Sony are in competition? Why do they keep excluding Nintendo? And people are like, well, that's the whole reason Sony wanted it that way was because they wanted an excuse why Nintendo is successful without Call of Duty, right? Because they were making Call of Duty the entire argument for them at the time. And when they kept doing that, there was like, and we're all like, but Nintendo's successful without Call of Duty. And then they're like, but Nintendo doesn't count. They're in a different market, And so they got their wishes.
Show Microsoft has more room than just first and second place.
Yeah, it shows a wider market for games and that there's room to grow. And so, but Sony was like, no, that's a kid's console. It doesn't matter.
Do you think
then now the FTC is like, okay, we agree with you guys. Now everyone's agreeing with it.
Yeah, CMA was, I think, the first one to kind of put that out there, like, and everybody else just kind of ran with it. Like, do y'all think that Sony may have some regrets about going with that argument, because now, you know, we've even seen the U.S. Congress and these hearings and stuff with these trade deals with the was it Indo-Pacific trade?
It's the trade agreement between us
yeah.
and Pacific nations.
So within that, they're asking Japan to investigate Sony. Pretty much outright, bluntly, they're asking Japan to investigate Sony regarding their exclusivity agreements with publishers. And that would include things like Spider-Man,
Final Fantasy, stuff like that.
Final Fantasy, but they did say put up games that are popular in Japan. So if you want to exclude it to like these Japanese style games, you could say Final Fantasy is the main one, right? And then games like Live Alive that's coming out this week on PlayStation, excluding Xbox, Octopath Traveler 2, right? Stuff like that. They can go back as far as Street Fighter 5 on PS4 as well, you know. So I think Sony maybe stepped in a bucket of shit that they didn't mean to step in, you know, and they might be feeling the repercussions of that in one way or the other.
I think it'll be a few years before we ever hear anything about this, because like we have to obviously wrap this deal up, and then FTC and whatever other organizations would investigate that. But I think I don't want government in games, but I think this could be a good regulation where eventually you could end exclusivity, or at least a majority of exclusivity on consoles with this, because like EU last year just passed a law where Apple has to put in USB-C chargers on all their phone. But another constraint they had to do is they have to open up their devices where people can load third-party app stores on the iPhone. So that's kind of like keeping Apple exclusivity. So like now they have to open it up in at least the EU. So maybe that's where we go with Sony and Xbox, where we have to open up exclusivity where you can't have that anymore. You have to have an open ecosystem. So I don't know.
You have to allow your stuff to be sold on other people's store ecosystem. Unless
it's like maybe first party or if it's first
something
party,
like that.
Maybe then because I could definitely see that happening. I could see in the short term maybe Microsoft starts playing even extra nice with their time exclusive deals. Like Microsoft still has a couple of them with like Stalker 2, and they're super short term compared to Sony, where you never know when those games are coming to the platform. Like we never know when Final Fantasy is coming and things like that, or just random games that were supposed to appear on the platform. I forgot what that one game was called. It's supposed to be on the Xbox, and it just disappears like really silently, like, oh yeah, we're just PlayStation now. Like those games just slowly just disappear. But I wonder in the short term, because of pressure from Congress, if we'll just start to see this less timed exclusive deals just because they know they're being investigated, or if Sony's just like, we're gonna still do what we want, and Xbox is gonna do what they want. I don't know. It's hard to tell what's gonna happen, but I do know that this is something we've been talking about very early on, where I always say Pong because I do remember specifically Pong talking about like, hey Sony, by you keep fighting and you blabbing your mouth complaining about Call of Duty, you're opening potentials to be investigated and show like have a light on the industry that was usually in the shadow. Like for years people didn't know half the stuff that was going on in the gaming industry, even though it's the most profitable industries out of movies and TV shows, all that. Like games make a ton of money, but they've been unregulated for so long, which is what Sony is. In a weird way, Sony should have
was banking on that.
Yeah, they're banking on that pretty much. Like it's been unregulated for so long. They've been dominating the industry for years, because it's been unregulated. So I don't want the government to be messing around in the industry, but hey, I mean, Sony kind of blabbed their mouth, and it's also like why all these other companies
Told him to shut the
didn't
fuck
say
up.
anything in the meeting. Yeah, like they were like, no, let the deal go through, please. Like you had like a lot of big industry people in that room with the FTC and CMA. I forgot which meeting that was, but it was like Take-Two was in there. You had like people from Ubisoft, I think, was in there.
Yeah, I think
was
Ubisoft
Nintendo
was
in
there.
there?
I think they just said, yeah, it's good or whatever, but yeah.
Yeah, but they were sitting in the room like, shh, Sony, shut up. Shut up, Sony. Just because like they want this deal to go through because they want to make similar deals in the future. But because Sony kept blabbing their mouth, now there's like a spotlight on any future deal that is of this size or even it doesn't even have to be of the size. FTC's kind of been attacking companies regardless. But this is the repercussions of Sony fighting.
I mean,
back
now
so
it's got
hard,
a
in my
global
opinion.
spotlight. It's not just like the FTC looking at it. Like eventually, like maybe these other organizations like the CMA, the EU, stuff like that will eventually look at it. I don't know. We'll just have to wait
Now
and
they
see.
have a lot of knowledge
Yeah.
on how the gaming, because they basically had to, a lot of these regulatory bodies, if you guys remember the first round, it was like they were pretty much just
learning what games were.
Sony.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they didn't. I felt like they didn't even know what games were. Like, what is a video game? And the rounds, I felt like they just kept learning more about the market because Microsoft had to kind of educate them in a way, and then they had to actually learn like what is happening in the gaming market. And through each round, they're mentioning stuff like, Sony, what does that mean? Like, what? I don't think that makes sense. And you could see like over time they were like pinpointing like why Sony's talking points are ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, this is Sony's fault at the end of it. If they literally could have had, in my opinion, a better deal, they just shut up. If they were just like, okay,
all they had to do is sign that 10-year deal,
or they didn't even have to take it.
This is why like companies like Amazon and those companies weren't really fighting this, right? Because they don't want these regulations on themselves. And that's who like Microsoft is really thinking about in the future. It's more so like these big players, these big tech companies that are really starting to put their nose into gaming, like Amazon is now, Netflix is even more, and you're gonna have Apple maybe take even a bigger step into gaming at some point. And all of these companies are more technically capable with the cloud and streaming than Sony is, right? And that's kind of where the Microsoft sees the future. And like even those companies were not being like, well, hold on now, like Microsoft's got a monopoly on the cloud. They're like stepping back, like, no, we don't. We want to be able to buy who the fuck we want, right? So like you just let them get them, and we'll get the next one, okay? But then Sony's like, fucking, but what about console hardcore device gaming? We deserve a seat at the table here. You're not allowed to buy our Call of Duty a game that makes us all this money. And all the arguments that they made put the spotlight on them, right? Because with the Discovery thing, they have to share all these documents, all this stuff, and they see these things and they're like, huh, Sony, you made a good case when you were talking your bullshit, but we're looking at these numbers here and they just don't really add up because at first we made a huge math error, but now we actually recorrected our math, and it looks like you're pretty damn dominant in this space, like and now even the US Congress is like, hey, video game industry, why do we suck in Japan? Why is that happening? Why is our biggest US gaming companies not able to succeed very well there? They've been trying for 20 years. What's going on? And Sony's like, we had nothing to do with that. Please look the other way. Just focus on Call of Duty, right? And yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think this whole ABK thing has been a game-changing deal, just beyond Call of Duty. It's changing the way these regulators all look at the gaming space. It's changing the potential way that we purchase our games in the storefronts in the future. and
I
all
think
this
it's going to
stuff.
be like over the next 10 years, I think this deal might have more impact on the actual video game industry than we think. Just like looking back on it with all these regulators actually now educated on it and then investigating it more. Like I think over the next 10 years, we might see major changes with the video game industry because of this.
Yeah. And honestly, I mean, Microsoft is a huge part of it because they're the ones doing the deal, right? But beyond that, you can thank Sony for raising the
Awareness
awareness of the points, the talking points here, that has mostly backfired in their face. In fact,
It was a case of F around and find out.
That's 100% what it was, Fuzz. And to the point now where it's like Sony's not even going to be listed on the concessions probably for the CMA, right? I mean, maybe Microsoft still includes them. They're saying we're going to put the games on all the devices still, or whatever, to the CMA. But the CMA came out and said, like, well, we don't see any reason why Microsoft would even want to take Call of Duty off your platform. So
Yeah.
And the thing is, if it is a concession that's agreed to, that's something they have to enforce, right?
Mhm.
And do they feel like it's necessary that they have to enforce it or not, right? And it seems like mostly the only thing they're really considering now is the cloud stuff, which was fair, I think, right? The cloud thing was fair to begin with, and that's why I thought Microsoft was going to have the biggest issues going into this originally. And when we saw that Sony was the only real like naysayer to the deal, and it was all about Call of Duty, back then I'm like, this is like a checkmate for Microsoft. That's so easy to get around, and it's turned out to be true. What were you saying, 3-bit?
I was just saying, like, it's just like so weird. Like a lot of people that are on Sony's side are essentially saying like Jim Ryan is just doing his job, which he is, right? But
poorly.
Don't you think it's poor if it's right now it's gotten to this degree where now Sony's in the limelight and a lot of their business decisions of how they got to the market position that they're in is now being threatened by the government because they're like, wait a minute, Sony, come here. Like what's happening here?
Yeah.
Basically, I mean, Sony really relies on third party quite a bit because they're in the market position. They don't really need to buy a lot of these publishers. They don't really need to buy Square Enix because Square Enix just comes to them for a lot of it. Like, hey, Square Enix, make your game exclusive. We'll put it on their platform, and it doesn't even seem like a lot of companies have to fight that hard. It's like, okay, we'll make our games exclusive, just because of how powerful and popular PlayStation is as a platform. But because they've been making these deals, these third-party deals, it's like it's gonna possibly bite them in the butt. I mean, we'll see how the government is handling that, but because Sony decided to take Nintendo out of the market with just Microsoft and Sony, I mean, now that's 90% or whatever they keep saying, even though it's ridiculous because I'm like, Nintendo is kicking butt in Japan.
Yeah, to all of us, it's ridiculous. Everybody is ridiculous.
I mean, yeah, we all think it's ridiculous, but I was like, hey, I mean, Sony, you guys decided. Yeah. So, okay, based on your metrics, now that Nintendo's out of the conversation, let's just say it's the two of you. Now you own 90% of the market. Like, to me, that's just a bad job. Like from Jim Ryan. I know Jim Ryan is just doing his job, but that's a bad job
for him. In their arguments, they defined a new market, right? Yeah. The high-end console gaming market was not a thing, right, that existed within the regulators before, but their arguments created that. And they made the argument that Nintendo doesn't count because it's family-oriented style games, and it's not powerful enough to even run these high-end games. So you have to have these new fancy finagled machines to be able to play these kind of games, right? Meanwhile, you still have games like Doom and stuff like that show up on a Switch, right? Resident Evil 4, or Resident Evil. What was the last one that came on the Switch? Resident Evil Remix. One of the last Resident Evils came out.
2 remake, maybe?
2 remake, I think. Yeah. There's several high-end games that come out on the Switch in one way or the other, right? That's just where technology is going with the cloud and stuff. Plus, also, Nintendo's not set in stone with the Switch. Like, there's future Nintendo devices, right? To exclude Nintendo from the market without even knowing what their next device is like just ludicrous also, because they could be getting these games in the future. In fact, Microsoft wants to, right? So
Sony knew what they were doing. They're protecting their short term so they have time to adapt so they can get a good long-term strategy in place and survive, like, and have a better performance
now
in the long term.
They don't have that 10-year deal anymore, I don't think. That's off the table.
Yeah, but they have a few years to adapt to change with the market.
But they might have overplayed their hand so much, Jasper, that they fucked up some of their future.
Yeah.
Because they might have fucked their whole model that they've been using for years by bringing too much of a spotlight to themselves. And they were playing, it's like they're playing poker. They're playing Texas Hold'em. And there was 3 aces on the flop, and they were holding a 2 and a 7, and they were trying to, and they were trying to, like, well, we got the best hand here, you know what I mean? Like, then they call Phil a cheater across the other side of the table, and then like the investigator, the arbitrator comes, like, hey, are you cheating, Phil? And they're like, no, man, I got an ace in my hand. Like, what are you talking about? I'm not cheating. And they're like, well, Jim, you falsely accused this man of cheating at the poker tournament. You're kicked out of the game. You know, like
he flips the table.
You can play, but you have new rules. you have to abide by some new rules, Jim, if you want to keep playing here.
He's like, wait, I gotta go.
Yeah, there was doing their job. I agree.
Yeah.
You know, he has to. But I feel like.
But I'm saying, like,
the cards they played were wrong.
A bad idea.
Yeah, the cards they played were wrong, right? They played the wrong cards. They brought the wrong attention to the wrong things.
They should have folded.
They themselves even said that the cloud wasn't a thing that they were concerned about. That was their biggest argument they could have had. And they themselves said that. Why? For the same reasons we talked about Amazon and these other games, because they know that's part of their future as well. And they didn't want to be hamstrung with that. So they played this Call of Duty hand all along. Call of Duty, but if Digital Foundry says that the game's better on fucking Xbox, we can't compete. We're doomed forever. We can't do anything if Digital Foundry says.
To me, just showed biasness. It just showed the biasness to me with Digital Foundry more than anything.
Yeah,
but
at the end of the day, was it good? Because at the end of the day, guess what's going to happen? The CMA is going to prove it. Sony gets more spotlight on them, more possible regulations against them in the future with how they do third-party exclusivity agreements, and Microsoft still gets Call of Duty.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't have the 10-year licensing deal that other companies are getting, even Nintendo.
And depending on how the future goes, it may be even possible for Microsoft to have a little side store in the PlayStation ecosystem to make money off of.
Yeah.
Cool. I mean, they want Game Pass everywhere. Like, they want Game Pass in PlayStation. That's their goal. That's their ultimate goal. I mean, I'm sure if they keep going with all of these different publishers, because Microsoft, hey, guess what? They said a while ago that they're still going to buy more publishers, or they're going to buy more companies, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure it's in even in a year or 2 years, it's going to get really hard to ignore not only Game Pass as a value, but the library of games that are coming to Xbox. I mean, we all said it starts with this year, and I still believe that. This year is like the ripple for the games to come. And how much it's going to affect the market, I don't know yet. That's something that's going to be really interesting to see. Like, Xbox is basically piling games. You get Elder Scrolls, you get Fable, you get, I don't know, Outer Worlds too, right? You start getting all these games is pouring into Xbox. Eventually, you're going to get some head turning, right? Because people, at the end of the day, people are not loyal to the majority of people. I don't think are loyal to a console, right? You have every generation, every few generations,
they'll go to where their friends are playing or where they save money.
They'll go to wherever. Yeah. Exactly. And then you get the mom like, hey, I heard about this Xbox. We always use that now.
Yeah.
But they'll go wherever their friends are. And if you start getting a ton of games into Xbox, eventually people are going to be like, hey, I heard about Outer Worlds 2. Let me go check that out. I'm wondering if Xbox will eventually have that shift in market, or how powerful is PlayStation 8? Like how
Well,
powerful are they
they'll
as a
never
brand?
have the console market. Like they're just never going to have that. They'll have the user market. That's what they're going for. They're going for users. They're not going for consoles.
Which is smart. Like the fact that Microsoft said we're no longer competing in console sales, right? So like a lot of Sony fanboy metrics are usually reduced to sales, like hardcore sales, which is why they missed the point of what Xbox is trying to do.
Except when the Xbox Series X was doing well earlier this generation, and the PlayStation 5 wasn't as much.
Then
they didn't matter. Now they matter again because PlayStation 5 is selling well.
Yeah, of course.
It's
the point of Xbox is not sales for their consoles. They're making a loss on every console they sell anyways. Their goal is Game Pass and users. And if you really want to compare like users that stay in your ecosystem, Xbox Live, if we want to compare what Xbox Live has and what the comparison of what Xbox Live is and what like PSN, I guess, Plus is, Xbox has more users. Am I wrong?
No.
Yeah, Xbox has more users.
I think
Xbox
it's something
has more
like
users,
63 paid subscribers and 100 over 63 million paid subscribers and like 100 and some odd million active users. So you figure, you know, there's probably like 2 per account or something like that type of deal. With PlayStation,
they have more
even after the combination, I think they're only at 43 million as far as like paid / active users.
Yeah, and that's a important metric to me because I mean, users are people who constantly look in your service.
It's better to have monthly income than just short upfront income.
Yes. Exactly. And not a lot of people like mention that. Like PlayStation is a bigger brand, has more people buying their consoles, right? But they don't have more people on their subscription service. And that's Xbox is looking at numbers like that. While you have like the PlayStation famous like, oh, look, we just got a million more console sales. Xbox is like, okay, cool. That's cool. Meanwhile, they're funneling money through their subscriptions. And that's what why it feels like you don't need to buy an Xbox, because they really don't. They are worried about that monthly. So their metrics are way different. The whole Jeff Grubb situation. That was but like their metrics are completely different because of how they judge importance. They don't really judge importance on console sales. So
yeah. And I think console sales still matter, right? Obviously,
yeah, I mean they still matter.
But it's not like the only metric that counts. And I feel like back in the day that was maybe the case because that was the only way to access the games, right? Early last generation, Microsoft started already changing that when they started putting their games on PC. And now is even more so because of the cloud. The Game Pass subscription gets you access to so many different things now. And that's only going to continue to get wider of a market, right? I still think that Xbox is going to continue to do better in console sales this generation. At some point, it's just they have to get their games out. And they have to start having these narratives out there, like with things like Redfall, you know, and the performance and stuff like that. That's a detriment because that killed them early last generation, right? It really did. Like
the 900p.
Yeah, Xbox was more expensive. It got bundled in with Kinect, and it didn't perform as well on a lot of games as the PlayStation did, which was less expensive and higher performance. Now, this Xbox Series X is more powerful than a PS5, but it's still not showing up as much as it should in some games, right? So they got to get some of these things right within themselves to really push the console market better, which is why we're critical of them at times for those things. But at the end of the day, it's not killing their business. Like 2022 was going to be rough. I think we're going to see that tomorrow. where you're going to see once PlayStation's fiscal year numbers come out, it's just going to be like insane.
Well, I mean,
Right.
the last few months, Xbox console sales have been down. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It'll be up when Starfield hits
Yeah.
and Diablo hits, and
they also got to get consoles out because apparently there's a shortage. But I don't know.
yeah. I think they're they got to be stockpiling them. Like there's the Diablo bundle, and then there's the Starfield boxes that we've still seen. I haven't seen a Starfield box at a store yet.
I think they're piling up for Starfield for sure.
Yeah, and that's what PlayStation did with God of War. Right?
Where's this Series S? Is because those are just Series X bundles. So like,
I think the Series S's are readily available.
Yeah.
It's just the Series X's, and the Series X's they're I think they're holding on to those for these big games because they know that's like these hardcore gamers and the we're gonna want consoles for those and stuff like that. So I think you'll see an uptick and surge in console sales for a little while. Will that momentum carry? It depends on the pipeline, right? And the pipeline looks great as far as we know right now. But we'll find out more in June. That's why I think they need to tell more than just this couple months up ahead. I think they need to reinforce everything going on for years, because if they just blow people's minds with this shit, it's just like they'll just start selling like crazy. But again, they just want this. They want a growing ecosystem of users, right? And that's ultimately
why they're putting it on every device you can.
Yeah.
TVs, PCs, yeah.
I mean, they make so much money from Minecraft, and they make it without really worrying about console sales for Minecraft. Like Minecraft's not pushing console sales, right? But it's like the most played game in the world, right? And they have all these different devices that play it, and they make a killing off of Minecraft. But it's not forcing the issue on their console hardware, right? Call of Duty, I think, will push the issue on consoles, though. I think Call of Duty is a little different than Minecraft in that regard, where it's just that branding on the boxes, like, and stuff like that is going to kind of become synonymous with Xbox, and at that point, you start to see more people buy those, but it'll take some time.
Yeah,
maybe 2 years after the deal's done.
I think PlayStation still has the Call of Duty rights till when?
Next year?
24.
Yeah, 2024.
Do you think like they even want to market it? Like, is it a smart idea to even market Call of Duty? Because really you're just helping Xbox in the future, or they'll just really like push for that short term. Like,
well, last year we didn't see very much push from PlayStation on Call of Duty. With Modern Warfare 2, it wasn't like normal, right? That you didn't see like the PlayStation branding at the end of the Call of Duty trailers, and you didn't see a lot of this and that.
That's true. It was less.
So
sure.
Yeah,
I'm wondering if they're already moving past that. They still have the rights for it. I just don't think it's being utilized. The only benefit they got was the beta early, by like a week or a couple days or something like that. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Regardless, the biggest prize for me this year is going to be Diablo. Like, once that hits Game Pass, like, it's going to be insane. I'm going to already own it, be honest with you. I'm not going to wait for it to hit Game Pass.
If you buy the 80 or the $100 edition or whatever it is, you get 4 days early. So
yeah. I mean, the Diablo is probably going to be the biggest selling game this year.
Hogwarts it may still top it, I think.
You think so?
Yeah,
I think Diablo tops Hogwarts.
Yeah, Hogwarts is a bigger brand. I think.
I think the big
Harry
three
Potter
are going to be
huge.
Diablo, Hogwarts, and Star Wars Jedi.
Star Wars
up
is so like
there.
crazy.
And
also
then
Call of
Spider-Man
Duty.
2.
I mean, Call of Duty's still coming out.
Yeah, Spider-Man 2
So
as
those
well.
are-
But Spider-Man 2 is only
Yeah.
going to be on PS5, right?
yeah.
Yeah, but it's still pretty well.
It's still going to sell like crazy. Final Fantasy 16 is going to sell well, but not like that well. I still think Diablo takes it.
I think it's
What
going to
about
be a neck
Starfield?
and neck between Hogwarts and Diablo as far as being past the 20 mil club. Like, I think those two will surpass the 20 million sales. Like, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Hogwarts might already be there. Diablo's probably going to be there in a fairly short period of time. And then Star
Hogwarts
Wars might top out. at
Hogwarts
20.
has casuals buying consoles and shit just to play it.
True.
It'll be interesting to see. That beta for Diablo took on a life of its own, though. Like, that was like everywhere. I feel like it's going to have a good launch, and there's going to be a lot of hype around it. It's going to cause people to buy it, and no matter what device you have, you're going to buy it on that platform. I feel like it's going to have a high attach rate on multiple
And
platforms.
it's cross progression as well.
Yeah, and like, as I saw the chat say, or you said, what about Starfield 3-bit? Starfield ain't gonna sell like that. It's still gonna sell really well, but it ain't gonna sell like that because of Game Pass.
Yeah, I think so.
It's gonna
You think
drive
like 15 million, maybe. Skyrim was like 30 million. But he said it's sold far more.
But
than
that's over like a
30 million in,
decade.
the last-
Like it had like 38 million or something like that, or like over like a course of.
I'll honestly
10
be
years.
surprised if Starfield gets 10. I think probably 7 from PC and 3 from Xbox and sales on Starfield.
I think it does that in the first year, between 10 and 11 million in the first year. Sales wise.
Yeah, maybe 10 in the first year.
But I think Starfield's gonna have a higher player count than some of those games.
Yeah.
It'll be 20 million to 28 million range, I think, player wise. I don't think it gets the full 30 or however many is in Game Pass, but I do think it gets pretty close.
Well, Jeff Grubb on a podcast say Starfield needed to make this much money, but it only made this much money. Like,
that was really insane.
We still have Hogwarts still has to release on Xbox One and PS4, I think, next month, and then I think Switch is in June. So they still got all the Switch sales for that fucking game.
Yeah,
I think it's already at 20 mil. It's at least 18 mil, if not 20 by now, and that's without those.
Yeah, the Beer Baron makes a good point. I mean, how many subs are gonna go to Game Pass because of Starfield? I feel like a lot.
A lot. Because it's on PC too.
A lot of people are waiting for Game Pass. Like, they're waiting to subscribe to Game Pass for Starfield. Like, I know a lot of people who are in that mindset. So,
and they win either way. But you'll see narratives. Starfield only sold like 5 million copies in its first like month or whatever they I don't know what it's gonna do, but you know what I mean. That, and there'll be comparisons. Well, Spider-Man 2 sold this many copies and it's only on PS5 or whatever. And then you'll see the reports. So, well, like, Starfield has like 50 million players or whatever on it. You know what I mean? So like, these users are paying somehow to play the game. And that's the key metric. And that's why I thought the whole Hi-Fi Rush thing was ridiculous in the first place, because there's no metric of like success on a game like Hi-Fi Rush for Game Pass. You're going to get some subscriptions for it and stuff like that as well. But Game Pass inherently, that's just the nature of it, is going to make a game sell less than it could have potentially because it's launching day one of Game Pass. But that's also by design from Microsoft, because they want you to subscribe to Game Pass. So a game like Hi-Fi Rush may not drive as many new people in as a game like Starfield, but it still creates that that trust in the brand and the confidence in Game Pass, right? Like, over time, like, it's an accumulation thing. That's why I thought the whole argument over like expectations and stuff was just like really misplaced and weird conjecture about what Microsoft's looking for.
With that.
Well, the whole deal with Jeff, and it's not a slight at Jeff. It's like he's been in this business long enough to know that he has access to certain information, and the obvious information has always been, well, not always been, but it's
how much does the game cost
is expanding. So your Microsoft is not going to throw money at a studio that isn't performing to their liking. Why would they expand a studio that's below performance numbers or expectations?
We see what they do with those studios. Just look at 343.
Layoffs. You don't add like another 30 plus people. And then the other thing is, remember on PC, like, okay, we're not going to knock Forspoken, but everybody was like, oh, well, Forspoken wasn't really a flop, even though they closed the studio. But let's not forget, Hi-Fi Rush is a $40 game compared to Forspoken being a $70 game. And it outperformed it starting a week later, like sales-wise on Steam. So I don't know. I whether I said it in the DMs. I think Jeff had some, I wouldn't say necessarily valid info, but some insider info, and I think it's a unhappy troll or mole, well, not troll, but mole at Bethesda, and to that individual, based on their old metrics before the Microsoft takeover.
It could also be like just a telephone game. Like maybe like he first got an email saying like, yeah, it's Hi-Fi Rush didn't do as good as we thought. So then like he tries to, since he's a writer and a journalist, he tries to like word that up and get some like fancy words like it did not meet the expectations Microsoft did. So it's like that's not
or
what
didn't
the
make what
original
it
email said.
didn't make what it needed to make or whatever.
Yeah. So there's just so many weird things that it's like, just look at them expanding the studio. Look at how it outperformed Forspoken just on PC. And if you're having this kind of, it was like a media darling with no lead up to it, stealth drop, critically acclaimed. A lot of people, it was pretty much other than what it trending for his comments, it was trending on Twitter for quite a while. So there was something to it. And, fortunately, Aaron kind of shut that nonsense down rather quickly. Like normally, Xbox tends to be quiet or let things fester for a while. And I don't even think it had a full 24 hours before Aaron was like, nope, this game performed, or exceeded expectations as far as engagement and, all the metrics that they're worried about now with Game Pass. This thing probably knocked it out of the park. I don't know if they're going to ever give us exact tallies, but the proof is in the pudding. You don't expand a studio that's underperforming, period.
And that's why you saw Aaron come out and be as strong as he was about it, right?
Yeah.
But people are going to run with that. I mean, you still have people like, I'm not going to name these people, but I don't want to give them attention. But you're still going to have people come out and use that as a narrative because of how the media perceives Xbox. And this past few weeks, I mean, we said our piece about like Redfall and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like all it takes is like one hit piece about Xbox to do like 10 more that of just negativity about like I've seen so many different podcasts like just
I've been seeing positive shit about
like
Redfall
yesterday.
Yeah,
really.
I have.
I've been seeing a lot of like hit piece things about
the Starfield
how Game Pass is bad for the industry.
Avatar.
Well, no, I just seen like things about like Game Pass and how it's bad and how like because of what was happening with the situation with Hi-Fi Rush, how it impacts future games. And I mean, Jeff Grubb didn't necessarily like he kind of doubled down on a lot of his statements
in his
like
video.
He was like, yeah, he was kind of like I was kind of wrong, but like
but here's the thing, we don't know. We don't know how successful.
But we don't know.
Right.
Like he kind of he didn't like go into like the metric side of it of like there's documents where Xbox is saying like, yes, Game Pass does categorize sales, but the metric we use for Game Pass's success isn't necessarily the sale of the game. It's the growth of the ecosystem. Like I feel like he kind of didn't really like go into that. He was just kind of skirted around it. Like he sort of mentioned it just to cover himself, and then he like doubled down on what he was saying in the first place, which I was just like, interesting. Well, and it's weird because I get Jeff Grubb has had a lot of things he said in the past where I completely agreed with, and his leaks end up being like 100% true. So I'm sure he's heard something to that extent, but it was just weird for me because of what has already been put out there or documents that Microsoft has given that you can clearly look up of what their goal is with Game Pass and why that doesn't even matter with like
I think more than anything it's just a confusion from the media still adjusting to this new model.
Mm-hmm.
Like not understanding the metrics of it because there is no metrics you can point to directly. And I've been making this argument for a long time regarding Game Pass.
I mean, the only metrics Microsoft could make is be like, maybe they were wanting to see 100,000 new users that month Hi-Fi dropped, and they only got 50,000. Like, that would still be underperforming for them if they were expecting like 100,000.
Yeah, but they still can't point to just Hi-Fi Rush in that regard.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
I'm just saying, but like maybe that's what they were banking on with like that month because Hi-Fi Rush was dropping.
Like more users.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the game still sold pretty
possible.
well for a Shadow Drop. I mean, like all these things, and it's not like they're resting their hopes and dreams on Hi-Fi Rush. You know what I mean? Like it was just a weird thing to make regarding just that one game that they Shadow Dropped that nobody heard of last year. You know, and it released and was a critical success. It sold fairly well. It drove a lot of hype.
Users.
You know, like all this stuff, and it's like that's what they want. Right, especially for a game like that, you know, like no slight against the game, but it's not a Starfield.
And I didn't know the game. Like I was a part of the team that was editing for the that developer showcase, right? And Hi-Fi Rush was in there, and I saw that game, and I was like, "Yeah, that looks pretty cool. Yeah, it looks decent. You know, it looks kind of fun." And then when the game came out, I mean, it ended up being like a hit. It's a great game, but it's a brand new IP. It's a brand new IP. It was shadow dropped. And for those who haven't played it, definitely check it out. But I mean, it's just weird to hinge on that game as the reason why Game Pass is gonna be bad for every future game.
And I don't think
the way people are making it.
And that's not what Grub was saying, but I think like that's how people took it out there. Like, well, see, Game Pass wasn't going to work. I told you so, you know, and it's like, what? Yeah. I mean, come on. Like the sky is falling thing, using these things for narratives to fit your own personal agendas or your own talking points. Like we talked about earlier, how everybody's against Game Pass for some reason because it's too damn good. Like
where are these people on Apple Arcade?
Yeah, exactly. Are you for or against Apple Arcade? Like, I'm just curious. Like, is it damaging the industry? So, yeah, there's all these little examples of these talking points that come out, and Hi-Fi Rush just kind of fit that narrative, right? That was the danger of it because it's really an illogical thought to have. Be honest with you, like, really, there's only one metric you can look at with Xbox if Game Pass is successful or not, and that's if Xbox is profitable. Because it's a core focus of what they're doing now. And it expands beyond just the subscription numbers. It goes into like ecosystem wise, like going to all these different platforms with the cloud and all the investment they have. And I see people like, well, you can't really know how a Game Pass is making because you know, they have to fund all these games, you know, so how are they profitable? I don't know. And you can't even look at it as a metric of like incoming revenue for subscriptions versus outgoing for game development, because you have to look at it in all these different regards. There's so many different factors. How many games did I buy with the money that I would have used on Game Pass games? Right? I don't know. Microsoft doesn't know. There's no way they can inherently tell me or tell anybody that. How many microtransactions did I spend on games that are in Game Pass, or how much extra content did I buy? How did Game Pass keep me more engaged with Xbox than other platforms and inherently cause me to buy games on Xbox instead of a PlayStation or something like that? There's so many different factors that weigh into it. So all you can look at is how much money they're spending, period, and how much revenue and bringing in, and if they're making a profit. And if Xbox is making a profit, then their Game Pass model is successful because Xbox is still growing. And that's the only thing. If Xbox is shrinking and they're getting smaller and they're losing money, then it's bad.
We're about to find out tomorrow.
2022, that's why, and we can be critical in 2022, right? Like 2022 is a bad thing. They can't have years like that, right? Like 2022 can set you back, right, from everything they want to do.
I feel like 2022 is probably one of the things that are probably hitting them in sales now. Also, I feel like that did
for sure, absolutely. Can you imagine if they had
having no games last year?
Think about 2021. There was so much hype, right, everywhere, and then
that's. I think their first half of last year could still be up because they were still riding that hype from last year. So like,
yeah,
and that's going to obviously take some time for like the market to actually see that where the Xbox has no games.
It took wind out of their sails though. Last year did, and so like that's why they can't have years like last year, right? And we're gonna see that. But can they make up that ground plus more this year? Absolutely. Like, am I expecting the financials to look great tomorrow for 2022? No.
It's also kind of 2022 is kind of the end of COVID where everyone started going back out again and stuff. So it's like,
yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting seeing those, but I think ultimately in the long haul, like this model is going to be proven once their pipeline is finally fulfilled, right? Because until they actually have a regular slate of games coming out like every quarter, like they originally planned, that have hype behind them and excitement and get that engagement, we're never going to know how successful it is. And it's not one game like Hi-Fi Rush that's going to give us those answers, right? It's a long-term thing. And I think so far, if we take a larger sample size, it's already way more proven than not. This thing started back in 2016, I believe, right? 2016, 2017, Game Pass?
Yeah. Yeah, right in there. It was like just before the Series X was released, I think.
If they saw
Like
it as
by a
a
couple of months.
failure early on, they would have ditched it in 2018. Instead, what did they do? They started buying studios to fill it more. They doubled down on it, tripled down on it. Then they increased that even more. Spend $70 billion on it with the ABK. Microsoft doesn't see Game Pass as a failure. Like, Microsoft sees this as their future and their ecosystem going forward, and it's what they're investing in. So Hi-Fi Rush not needing to make what it did, like it's such a strange conversation to even have. But you know, the CMA things, we talked about this before. CMA is going to be approval is going to be a big moment. The closing of ABK is going to be a big moment. Then you have the June showcase coming out. It's going to be a big moment. And all this hype is going to roll into Starfield and then potentially Forza Motorsport and stuff like that. So I think they're in a really good place right now.
Yeah.
PlayStation has Spider-Man 2 to look forward to this year. Final Fantasy 16.
Can they do that right away?
do
By
what?
the way,
Can
like
do what?
as soon as they pass with CMA, can they like market it around June?
Well, they gotta the CMA has to pass, then the EC has to pass.
Yeah.
So
EC, okay.
the EC will probably follow suit. They extended it originally to May 20 something. But there's some that think they may go ahead and approve it sooner than that based on what the CMA's decision is. So we don't know exactly if they're going to wait all the way till the deadline or not for that, but it's sometime in May.
Probably
you're going to get
short.
They still have to either go over top of the
Probably short
FTC or wait for the FTC case to wrap.
Yeah, if the FTC doesn't back down from pressure from Congress and stuff like that over this whole situation as well, then you could see them closing over the top of FTC. And then there's the China situation. That's the wild card that nobody knows about right now because technically they're supposed to have that as one of the ones to close with. But also when that contract was originally written, ABK was putting games in China.
Yeah.
And they're not right now, I believe, after that NetEase falling out that they had. So who knows what with China, what's going to happen there. But I don't think they want to let China be the one that holds up this entire deal also. So we'll see what happens with that. So you're going to see this cascading of news 3-bit like from Wednesday or potentially even tomorrow, but from at least Wednesday all the way until early June, probably. And then at that point,
you're probably not going to see it in the. I mean, you might see maybe snippets of it in the. I'm just thinking about how long it took us to do the last showcase. It took some time, so I'm just judging by.
I highly doubt we'll see like
I don't
ABK.
even think they would advertise that in the showcase. I think they're already moved past acquisitions at showcases. Like I think they don't want to put that in there.
I think what we'll see.
I was just thinking
if there's an approval, they might acknowledge it somewhat just by saying something about it. Like if it's done, like welcome to the family or whatever. But like besides that, like I think we'd get a similar thing like we got with Bethesda ZeniMax, where they have a separate whole sit down thing, right? Except you can't have Kotick sitting there in the chair. Don't like you did with Pete Hines and Todd Howard. Don't have Kotick there, you know. he needs to be excommunicado as soon as this deal goes down.
As soon as this deal passes.
There'll be a transition period. It'll probably stay for like a month or two, I'm guessing. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah. There's a lot of toxic things still going on at ABK. So I hope a lot of that culture kind of gets weeded out.
Yeah. Well, they are allowing unions, so shout out to the people that are wanting to do that, and Sega also is now. I guess Sega of America is also starting to unionize. It was like 100 and something employees from Sega of America are forming a union there as well. So I think it's going to be a trend we start seeing more in gaming. Did y'all find it interesting with Sega at all?
It's interesting timing.
It definitely seems like they're lining up to be the next acquisition. I don't know. I was joking with Everborn because he's all in on the whole Sega thing, but I get this weird vibe that Sega's going to be Microsoft Square Enix, like how PlayStation and Square Enix are, and it's like, oh, they should put a ring on it, they should acquire them, and then they don't. I think Sega and Microsoft are going to be kind of in the same boat, and they're going to wind up doing a crisscross. It's going to be Microsoft picks up Square Enix. Not that I care or want that, but and then somehow, whether it be through loans or waiting until they have more funds for next year, Sony picks up Sega. Crazier things have happened. Like, who would have thunk, the whole ABK deal? But as much as it looks like looks like it's the next acquisition, I just get this eerie feeling Sony's going to somehow come in and steal it.
Part of me doesn't think Sega would even sell. They're acquiring right now, so maybe they just see their future as them growing to be even bigger and not wanting to actually sell to anybody.
Yeah.
Isn't Sony's budget is it like 5 billion or something?
I think that's how much they have in cash or whatever. But
that's all of Sony, and they've already did, what was that, Firewalk or Fire?
Yeah, but that was probably like 100 mil at most.
It was like 100. That was like 100 million or something.
Yeah. So, and then I think Sega's value is somewhere around 4 or 5. That means 7 bill to buy, possibly, if they sell. But who knows?
Yeah, that'd be
well,
crazy.
they just put what, almost $1 billion into Rovio, so their price is going to go up, right? So
it should, yeah.
It says I just looked it up. They have Sony has I think they have 5 billion remaining of the original 18 billion. So they got 5 billion left. Yeah.
They could get loans.
They could work out
enough
shit
for half of. That's not enough for Sega,
they could work out a deal and buy them. I mean,
yeah, I think they're gonna buy somebody else. I mean, it's bigger as well for their future and stuff like that. I don't know exactly when. I mean, they got Square Enix is a possibility always. Then you have other publishers as well.
But I don't want them to purchase that is another, sick feeling that might happen is Ubisoft. I mean, you got Jade Raymond over there with Haven Studio. She could also handle probably taking over the whole, Assassin's Creed IP.
I don't think Ubisoft's getting bought by anyone. If anything, they're going under.
Oh, so fire sale.
They just bought Ubisoft just bought another studio recently. I should have posted about that. Because it was on like LinkedIn.
They have so many developers that are putting out no games. They don't need any more studios. They need to put out some damn games.
They literally just acquired another studio like recently.
Yeah,
we need a support studio for this game that's in development.
We need a support studio for our other support studio.
We need somebody to bring in to figure out what the hell Skull and Bones is.
I think Sony's plan is to buy a bunch of smaller studios, so eventually they'll have like 50 smaller studios so that they can just know that they'll put out stuff over time.
Yeah,
because Square Enix is 5.9 billion, and it doesn't make sense to acquire Square Enix, in my opinion, because why they're pretty much a first party at this point. like the way
they also don't need a publisher in Japan because they are a publisher. So
we'll see though.
Yeah,
Like, let's
that's
say
the way I see it. But
Square keeps saying, well, these games aren't making us enough money because we keep doing these exclusivity deals, right? So at some point, does it become more beneficial for Square to be owned so that way they have less financial pressure on on themselves, or does Square end up deciding that they want to stop doing those deals because it makes way more sense to release your games on more places if you're a third-party publisher? Maybe eventually come to their senses, and Sony's like, no, we need those exclusive games here because they drive too much of our success. But the other aspect of that, will Sony still be allowed to be able to do those kind of deals in the future? And would they potentially have to buy a publisher like Square Enix to be able to still keep those games exclusive? Right? Or would they potentially have to follow to the same guidelines that Microsoft is and have to put those games multiplat if they made an acquisition? There's so many questions to be had, right, regarding those, because you can make a history if you're Microsoft or Nintendo about Final Fantasy being a big part of their brand in the past, and Final Fantasy games have been on Xboxes in the past, as well as they've been on Nintendo for a long time as well. So Sony, if they do acquire Square, they're going to face some of the same questions and scrutiny that Microsoft has had under Call of Duty, and that's on Sony's doing actually there as well. So, but they'll make the case, well, look, we're already getting exclusive games. But like, how were you getting them actually? How were you getting those exclusive games? Were you paying for them with your bad trade deals?
With your monopoly money?
Like with your, yeah, were you trying to foreclose your competition in Japan? Is that what you're doing there, Sony? How were you paying for the? How
which is why I don't think they'll buy a big company like that. I feel like what Jasper said, they're just going to keep getting smaller companies, especially their budget is not super big.
Yeah, they don't want to blow their load all on one thing because they may need emergency money for something.
Yeah, because that money has to last till the end of this year.
Financial year. Yeah.
So that's not a lot. I mean, it's a lot. I wish I had that much money, but it's in terms of like acquisition. Yeah, it's not a lot for a company. So I'm wondering. I personally think they'll just make like smaller deals and then just keep building up those studios. I mean,
yeah. The question is, who will make the next big acquisition? Will it be Microsoft or Sony, or will it be somebody else? Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't even somebody else, like an Amazon.
Yeah, it's going to be someone else. It's never the person you expect.
Yeah,
$10 or something.
Shout out to Silent Cipher. Hit us earlier with a $10 very generous super chat. Appreciate you. I said going to be an interesting week. It absolutely is. I will say this though. I'm sick of not having these big news Mondays. You know, remember like in COVID when like they didn't have like the show and stuff, like we had like gaming news like every fucking Monday that was like crazy hype and exciting.
Yeah.
I kind of miss that a little bit because usually good news and gaming news drops on a Monday. Bad news drops on a Friday.
Yeah.
We haven't really had a big gaming news Monday in a while now. And I feel like it could be because of ABK. You know, they aren't releasing
Everyone's
as many
preparing for E3
big
too.
things. Yeah. I don't know. I want a big news Monday. I kind of miss them, you know? That was one of our cool things with this show when we started it. It was like Monday is when the cool shit happened usually, and we get to be one of the first ones to talk about it, right? But it's been a while. It's been a little while since we've had that. Instead, we've had big news Wednesdays. And that's usually because of ABK stuff and stuff like that, right? There's a lot of things that happen in the middle of the week. I
feel like because there's such like importance and like so many lawyers talking this stuff, they have to actually get their like news they're going to drop that week clear and precise, and Monday's the starting of the week, so they're like, well, let's make sure we get all this stuff done Monday so we can drop it Tuesday or Wednesday.
I am curious too if they have more approval checks with the news that they do release than they would normally have because of this. Like, hey, is this going to cause any issues with regulators and all these different markets if we release this news wire or whatever, right? Is that a thing that happens right now? So they just kind of stockpile this stuff, and at some point, after ABK closes officially, are we going to have this like dumping of like crazy game industry changing news one after another that Microsoft's been stockpiling for the last like year and a half? It'd be insane, but well, we'll see. Wednesday is going to be big. Maybe even tomorrow, and then this week, who knows? Maybe we get some other news.
Tomorrow, I don't think is necessarily going to be as much gaming related. Just it's going to be big for like just tech industry in general because I think Amazon, Facebook, and Microsoft are all supposed to drop their earnings call tomorrow.
Yeah. Do they usually drop some other kind of news around their financials too? Because stuff kind of comes out from that, right? Their earnings calls.
I mean, maybe they drop good news, try to hide some of their downfalls or whatever, or just to re-hope their investors, get some more hopium up in there.
Yeah, that's the
Something
thing
like
they do.
35 million Game Pass subscribers, even though like maybe sales or hardware is down a little bit, but we're now at 35 million or 40 million subscribers.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to find out what comes out this week for sure. Hey everybody, we have a segment on this show. That was like one topic show.
I mean, it was like multiple topics all around one thing, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, kind of like intertwined.
Yeah,
our topics.
There's not a lot of news, really. Dead Island 2 is a success, if we can say that. It's selling pretty well.
Yeah, 1 million in the first like couple days or something. Yeah.
You said you beat it already.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How long was your playthrough? How long did it take you?
My playthrough was like a day and 9 hours, but I also pretty much did 2 playthroughs because I joined co-op with a friend and went through his entire campaign too. But you can 100% the game. I would 100% it in 19 hours, but I had extra hours on playing with him. So
okay,
it's not too long.
You said it was more linear than the first one.
Yeah, the maps are a lot closer together. It's not you don't have as much freedom. There's no cars or anything, so it just has it's just a different feel. It's more like I would say it's closer to first person Dead Rising.
Okay.
Interesting. Is it impressive or?
Yeah.
Graphics are the thing that pisses me off. It was really starting to get annoying. Is there's a fireman zombie, and like since he's a fireman, he has a fireman jacket. So electric damage you can't hurt him with. You can't hurt him with fire damage. You can't hurt him with acid damage. So if you have a gun that has any of those elements on there, you can't hurt him. You'd be like, well, the bullet should still hurt him. The fucking bullet doesn't hurt him because your bullet has fire on it, so zombie's immune to damage. It's like, what the fuck? I'm not shooting just balls of fucking fire. I'm still shooting a fucking bullet.
Yeah, must be immune to lead too. So
yeah. Or there's a zombie with like there's a zombie with like glass shards in him, and if I had a hammer that had bleed damage, so the zombie's immune to hammer damage because I have fucking bleed on my hammer. All the zombie has is fucking glass sticking at him. I'm like, what the fuck is this? So then I have to switch to a sword or some shit. It's like.
Yeah, that can get kind of annoying. Well, I haven't heard any review talk about that. That's interesting.
What would you give it, like, if you had to give it a score?
It's like 6.8.
Okay.
Is that good for you?
It's a okay.
Yeah,
it's an okay game.
On a Jasper
scale, it's above average.
I would say that's
pretty,
worth playing. Maybe
I would say wait for it to be around $50 to maybe $50 to $60.
Yeah, and for the viewers to translate, Jasper's scale is harsher, so that translates to maybe like a 7-ish. 7.5.
Almost, 7.8 almost.
7.8. The Jasper translator.
Yeah.
That's not bad. Not bad. That's above average.
How would you compare it to Dying Light 2?
It's Dying Light. I feel like you just kind of run around shit more, like because it's parkour. Like I feel like Dying Light's not necessarily like focused as much on the zombies as Dead Island is. Because like Dying Light, you kind of just run around and do random shit. Where like the zombies, like they don't really matter because you can just run past them.
Right. So which one did you like more? Dead Island 2 or Dying Light 2?
Dead Island.
Dead Island?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Nice. That's what you should have opened it up with.
That's high praise.
That is praise to me because
yeah,
I like Dying Light 2.
Yeah, Dying Light is an impressive game. I mean, I probably played like 7-8 hours of Dying Light 2. I think I need to get back to it. It's one of those games that I have on my back burner that I keep saying I'm going to go back to one day. and then I don't.
Ditto.
I have like
He
I
was
have
waiting
like
for me,
100 of those. I think.
which I appreciate, right?
Oh,
You're
and
waiting.
I just saw
Was I?
AJH question. Yes, you can get legendary weapons in your first run. You can do everything in your first run. Legendary weapons are all tied to pretty much certain quests. You can't just find random legendaries. They're all tied to a quest. So
Right on.
Hmm.
Well,
There's
thanks
a
for the Dead Island.
not a Dying Light. There's a Redfall background, dynamic background
yeah,
that came
that
out
just
today.
got added today.
Yeah,
So that's news.
you mentioned also that Redfall had some positivity around it today, and that's because IGN's hadn't worked a co-op preview impressions, and people are really actually liking what they saw.
I saw everyone posting today on Twitter that I'm buying the $27 on sale DLC pack or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, I saw that too. I guess that you get 2 extra characters with that or whatever.
Yeah, the DLC characters are added later in the year.
I'm still gonna wait on it because 60 frames thing is a big deal for me. But I am glad there's positivity around the game. Personal choice of mine where how I want to play the game does not mean it's going to be a bad game, right? And there's a lot of people that don't care about frame rates. That you're gonna have a blast probably playing Redfall. It seems like. I'm glad that there is some more positivity coming out about it because IGN's first videos they put out were ass. Right? Do you think they like spent some more time making sure this was quality after the feedback they had?
I think this was just their extended footage of the same event. This isn't like additional new footage. It's just
they just learned how to play the game along the way.
Yeah.
At some point, I guess.
Got better.
Yeah.
Yeah, because whoever is playing that was interesting. Maybe that person got better. I think that person must have gotten better.
I think it's the same person from today's video to the last one, to be honest.
Yeah.
Are they still
because
throwing the
I
teleporter
seen
as a
some
landmine?
I saw a lot of misses today. I'll just say that in the new video.
Maybe the quality of the video was a little bit better or something. I don't know.
I think it was explained more. There was more explanation behind the video. Like he was actually telling you what shit meant and did instead of just kind of running around.
Yeah.
Watching his teammates die
in
the background.
Red Monkey Butt says, Mav, this is Xbox's first AAA game in 16 months, and you won't be playing it at launch. I won't be playing it at launch. I won't. I wish I was playing it at launch, but I'm not. I'm gonna wait till it's finished. Until the 60 frames.
I'm the same. I love 60 frame games, so I'll either play it on PC, which is rare for me. So because I love vampires and I love arcane games. Arcane games usually give you a sense of freedom of how you do a task, and I'm almost expecting that in this one as well. And their lore and everything is usually amazing in like Dishonored and Prey. And I even really love Deathloop. So I'm expecting quality from them. I tried to play 30 frame games and it's like Gotham Knights. I was like, okay, let me just try this game. I couldn't. I stopped playing because I can't handle 30 anymore.
That game is so good. The story on it.
The story is great.
I really want. Oh, it's frustrating. I wish it was like I can't. I just can't do it. I wish it was 60.
The reason is not because I'm like, oh fuck Redfall, and it's not that. It's because I care so much about Redfall that I'm looking forward to playing it. I don't want to play it at the subparks. My subpark experience.
Yeah,
right? I want to play it
to the top.
Yeah, I want to play it when it's glistening and smooth and crispy and all that kind of stuff. So that's the reason why. And I'm just gonna wait for it until it hits that. Because I know it's coming. If they didn't say that it was coming, then I would probably play it at launch. Because I would be like, well, like Gotham Knights, I tried it, I bought it, I got FOMO, right? But I'm not playing it, and it's because of the frame rate, right? Redfall, I don't want to be that situation where I'm like, hey, yeah, especially when I know the update's coming. If they were like, hey, we can never do it, this is just what it is, then I would be like, okay.
The game being good actually is a detriment because I'm like, dang, that's freaking good. I want to play it at like the ultimate, package. I want to 60 frames, super smooth, all that. So give me all the bells and whistles. That's how I am.
Cajun Warcry says Mav knows he's going to put his Xbox appearing offline and we'll play Redfall day one. I will tell you this. I'm going to have a hard fucking time. I people that know
Same.
me will know how hard of a time I'm going to have not booting it up. But I would know I would be glad that I didn't.
You can always try it on PC right there. Just plug in a controller, sit at that desk.
Yeah. Have they said any more about the PC specs on 60 frames and stuff yet?
I don't think so.
Mm.
We still got what, a week and a half or so. So
Yeah, I'm gonna maybe if you see me try it, you'll probably see the PC icon next to it because I may boot it up to see if I can get 60 frames out of my PC.
Mm.
That
Yeah,
would be the
I'm
only
just
way.
gonna wait. I could probably run it on my PC, but like I've said before, after playing Division for so long at 30 frames, and then with this next gen console, they did the update on 1 and 2. I can't go back.
Yeah. Division 2 was huge. It felt like I was playing a whole different game.
They just came out like the other day saying they're not going to do a native Xbox Series X version of Division or some shit, which I was like, okay, they've already updated it to 60 FPS, 4K, so it's like, does it really matter?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you ask me, it already is, you know?
Yeah.
It's like when EA did all those updates for their games at 60 frames too. It's like, I'm happy with that. I don't need you to release a new version of it. You know, put the little X badge on it. If I get it at 4K 60, I'm completely.
I guess people were wanting like them to make a Series X version to have like ray tracing and actually use the SSD more or some shit. I don't know. Use those new next gen features.
The load times are so fucking fast on it too now. Like compared to last generation, it's insane. So I'm happy with that.
I just wish they had cross progression. Like I would want to see what it looks like on my PC, but I'm not starting over.
I just wanted to play 3.
I was going to play Dead Island on PC, but it didn't have crossplay, so I knew I wouldn't be able to play with my friend on Xbox. So I was like, fuck, now I got to spend $70 instead of paying, what is it, 45 on Epic or whatever the fuck it was.
You also mentioned Redfall dynamic backgrounds. They're also changing the Xbox UI again. We'll get that in a few weeks, supposedly. Jez put out said something about a few weeks from now.
It looks like a dashboard from like last year.
So I think there's 2 things going on around there because I think some of the insiders right now are just seeing the rollback.
Yeah.
And I think they're thinking that's the new update. I think the update is beyond that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there will eventually be a new update for like a new dashboard design, but like right now they're just rolling back to old dashboard styles to appease some people a little bit.
But I think like Jez put on Twitter something about a few weeks from now. When somebody was talking about the Redfall dynamic background, they were like, if only we could see it with these huge fucking blocks and stuff. And Jez was like, well, just wait a few weeks, right? So I don't know when the big update's coming for the Xbox UI, but I know that he's seen it and he likes it. I think it's different than the rollback stuff they've been putting into the insiders. And I think like our buddy Psychonauts and stuff is seeing that right now. And a lot of the people that have the beta or alpha levels of whatever are probably seeing a lot of that stuff without actually seeing the full new thing yet. Because what Psycho described to us behind the scenes was just the old thing.
Yeah.
Right. So they already said they're rolling that back. So
to be honest, like the old dashboard to like the dashboard that most people have now, like it's not really that different. It's like instead of having square or rounded corners, it's like square. It's like about the same. So everything's about the same size.
Yeah. So
I'm calling it now.
Yeah, it's not much of a
the new dashboard drops as a shadow drop on the day of the showcase.
that'd be cool if it was actually like
I want more
visually. Wow, that's really cool. Yeah, that makes sense. So I can't wait to see whatever they do with that. But yeah, like I was saying earlier, everybody, we have a segment here called Tidbits. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, this is Tidbits, a segment on FSP where we look ahead at the games releasing this week. And there's actually quite a few games this week. So we're going to go ahead and jump into them and see what we got. Let me get my sizing right on my video here. I need to find a different way of doing this so I don't have to rearrange it every week. But first up, what game is this, Fuzz, on the first on the list?
Oh, the first one is After Image.
That's right.
It's for PS4 and 5, Xbox One and Series X and S, Switch and PC for $29.99. Comes out this Tuesday.
Right on. After image. This pretty little. This looks like a 3-bit. This Metroidvania style.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I like the art style.
I saw this. Like, this
in.
looks like a 3-bit game.
Yep. See, it's all about the font. You know how sometimes we watch these trailers and stuff and they have crappy font and logos and their art style is trash. This is pretty good.
So you care more about the font than the game?
I don't know if we've seen this shit
It's
before.
literally
If
my
just like,
job.
there's just so many fucking side-scrolling Metroidvania games out there, but like they all kind of blend together to me.
Right.
Like I look at fonts and logos and trailers all day for my job. It's like, so I'm like, I don't know, a little bit more critical of it.
Yeah, I hear you. And next up is was it Strayed Lights, and it's coming out on everything. For $25 on the 25th. It's made by Embers.
See if there's any shitty games coming out this week.
Yeah.
Any shitty games that they may have missed. So Phasma asked, no Comic Sans 3-bit?
And no Comic Sans.
What if I told you I am a Comic Sans
Absolutely not.
fan? I like Comic Sans.
Oh, they did miss Age of Wonders 4.
That's a big one.
Oh wait, no, that's next. That's when Redfall
Next
comes
week.
out. Never mind. I
Okay.
lied. Yeah.
This looks pretty cool.
Well, see, these are some good trailers so far. Usually we start off with like a really bad trailer and we make fun of it.
I guess the
And
only
then we
big
get to the
thing
good
really this week is Stranded Alien Dawn, but
Yeah.
they missed that. But
They missed Stranded Alien Dawn?
yep.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a $35 game.
Did we show that
I
last
like
week
this
or
art
no?
style.
That was at the indie showcase, I think. Or something.
Oh, that means that
Disney
that Disney game came out that we were.
Yeah, that was last week. That's why we started talking about Aladdin last week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And he's actually Persian, or no, Jasmine is Persian, and
They're
he's
from the
Arabic.
Middle East. Yeah.
Next up is
Straight Lights.
Desta: The Memories Between for Switch and PC. Free with a Netflix subscription, you said?
Yeah, this one's weird. I can't find pricing. It used to be on mobile, but you have to have a Netflix subscription to get it for free or something.
Skip the
it's
ad.
weird.
Skip it.
Yeah, my
Skip the
bad.
ad.
I did. It skipped.
This is one of those Netflix games, I guess.
So
Looks
how do you
like
play
it's-
Netflix games?
You have to download Netflix app on your phone.
Yeah.
That's how the majority of Netflix games work, is you play
Yeah.
them on your phone. There's some you can play on your TV, like Minecraft, Telltale game you can play on your TV. But most of them are just from the phone.
They're starting to
These
think
games are
going to expand, though, with Joe Staten. They're going to be making games for consoles and stuff.
Yeah. I think there's a Stranger Things, like kind of like top-down 2D game that came out on Xbox, but
Yeah.
this is cool. I'm liking the games you got so far. This is a decent week.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a nice
Not-
week for
not your
indie
type.
games.
I like tactics.
I mean,
games, but
I love those type of games. Like I'll play if you have a pretty art style and stuff.
yeah,
It's like dodgeball, XCOM.
yeah, it's weird. It's like light balls. Interesting.
is that part of your Manscaped ad, light balls?
Yeah, light balls. I didn't do the Manscaped ad. I'll do it on Thursday. Bramble the Mountain King. The Forest is Calling. This is on everything for $27. $26.99.
Dang. He looks
Yeah,
creepy.
he is a little vicious guy.
You just stabbed
What in the
someone.
world? Goodness gracious. What's
He's
wrong
gonna
with
get
him?
us demonetized.
Nice.
Oh my
Stabbing
god!
someone else.
What the hell?
What the heck? Dude. Chill out.
It kind of looks like the
Why
plague.
did it keep cutting him stabbing so much?
Oh my gosh.
Kind of looks like the Plague Tale kid.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Again, my God.
He's still stabbing him. Wow.
Yikes.
Wow,
Whoa. That's Swamp Zombie. Swamp Zombie.
Is that like a knockoff Rob Zombie?
Oh, this game.
Yeah.
I've seen clips of this game.
I didn't know it was so vicious. I've seen clips of this game before too, but my God. Next up is
Wow.
Kazuna AI. Touch the Beat. For PS4, PSVR, Switch, and PC. No PSVR 2?
Okay.
Nope.
Wow. $34.99.
Wait, what? Coming to P.
Oh, so it's just Beat Saber, but you have a little anime chick dancing in front of you. Got it.
Girl dancing in between your beats, distracting you. Oh, they have a non-VR mode. That's kind of cool.
This is Beat. This is Beat Saber with the anime girl dancing in front of you. It's exactly what it is.
Yeah, she's literally distracting the heck out of you.
You can't
How are
see
you
the
supposed to pay
blocks
attention?
because I'm in the way. That's the extra challenge here.
Oh my gosh.
You're taking my focus away. Get out.
I can't see. Can you like turn her off?
There's going to be some weirdos by that game. Lego Brick Tales on mobile, $30. Also on console. Is it already out on console?
Yeah, it's been out
Yeah,
like
it's
since
already
last
out on
year.
console.
Okay.
I'm not sure on that 30 for the mobile. They don't list the pricing on mobile. I don't think it's going to be free to play, but I do think it's going to be less than 30.
Oh, she was a VTuber, apparently. That's interesting. New kind of Lego tale.
This was the game they made to show off ray tracing for like I think the 4090 series or some shit cards.
Oh, is it going to have it on consoles?
Well, this is for coming to phones now, but I think it has ray tracing on Xbox and PS5.
Wow. Okay.
Delilah HD says our tidbits on GWG are a little different. You have a tidbits? That's cool. I remember I found out Breaking or not Breaking Bad, Dreadpool originally had a tidbits at some point too. We've been doing tidbits. I used to do it as a standalone show for a long time ago, and then at some point I incorporated it as a segment on this show. And so we've been doing it for like, how long have we been doing tidbits for?
Yeah,
a year and a half?
Whatever
2
game comes
years?
out this week.
Yeah.
I know when you moved FSP to Monday, that's when you kind of put it in tidbits on your.
Interesting. Cool. Hey, the more tidbits, the better. Let's see here. Live alive.
Said, Mav, you're being taken to court over tidbits.
I found out somebody else had a show at some point called PM in the PM also. Like, I had no idea about, yeah. This one is Live Alive, PS4, PS5, and PC. $50.
This font is trash.
Delilah says we've been doing ours since 2017. Right on, Delilah. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm going to be taken to court from all these other podcasts over names, I guess. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I can't stand this Square Enix font.
Oh, it's cool because it's light at the top and then it goes to color at the bottom. So it's like two shades in the same letter.
I can't tell what kind of game this is. I guess it's like an earlier. What game is this?
Live Alive.
It's like Final Fantasy.
Live Alive, whatever you want to say.
Yeah, this is a classic RPG. It was brought back on the Switch recently, and I think it's making its way to the other platforms now. That it's coming to. It's skipping Xbox. This is one that I would like to have seen come to Xbox, but it is what it is. You know, Square does what Square does, and a lot of times it doesn't include Xbox gamers. So it's what it is. Next up is Omega Strikers coming out on the Switch. This is a free-to-play game, Fuzzy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's they said it's free, so I don't think it requires a subscription. It just said it was free, so I'm assuming there might be microtransactions in it.
Okay, right on.
Ooh, this is cool.
Yeah, it's a Mario Strikers ripoff that's what they're trying to take a hold of on Switch.
Is it also what is it on?
It's just Switch.
Okay, I don't want it.
They're like, oh, you see that $60 Mario soccer game that never goes on sale? Here's a free-to-play version.
Then we got Last Case of Benedict Fox coming out for Xbox consoles and PC for $30. Also, it's in Game Pass day one.
Right.
This has a lot of hype behind it. Big release, I think, for Xbox coming this week.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna play this one on Steam Deck. I don't know if I'm gonna just do the Game Pass through the Steam Deck or if I'm gonna wind up buying it through Steam. But
yeah, it's coming out on the 27th. Metroidvania style. Beautiful art style. This I think was premiered originally at the Xbox Showcase last year, if I remember right.
Ooh. Oh wait, I played this game.
What?
Yeah, they had a demo
years
like
ago.
Oh wait,
I played this years ago.
Did you?
At the at E3, I think.
That's what I was talking about with all these
unless I'm thinking about it.
Metroidvania games kind of run together because they all kind of feel the same and look the same.
Yeah.
Maybe. That's cool though. Down.
Yep.
Pretty
And
sure I played this game.
I think you'll see a lot of people playing it on your friends list this week. Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak comes out of PS4, PS5, Xbox One X and S. $40. This is a expansion, right? Or is anybody playing Monster Hunter Rise on Xbox right now? I don't see anybody on my friends list, but I'm sure it's got somewhat of an audience.
it has an audience. I just haven't.
I think
I was
Still
more
Rain
into
would be the only
previous
one.
Monster Hunter.
Yeah,
I think
Steel's the only person.
I tried
to play. Yeah, we both tried.
I liked World better, honestly.
Yeah.
I just made the mistake. Like, no one told me that I would be punished for just using a bow, because I want it to be like Legolas and only use a bow and arrow and stuff. I guess Legolas has some other weapons, but still, I just wanted to use a bow and arrow. And then it took me like 10 hours to defeat the most basic boss, but that's because it's supposed to be like a support weapon. I didn't know. Did not know, and I never played it again. But I heard it was a really good game.
Yeah, so it is a big expansion for at $40 is kind of pricey. Hopefully you get a lot of content for that. But
well, I mean, Monster Hunter is a game you have to play 3,000 hours to even do anything. So
is it like if you buy that, do you get the full original game as well, or is it a standalone expansion for $40?
I think you need to have the original game to actually even play the expansion. Okay. Almost like the way Burning Shores DLC was.
Right on.
Oh, is that how Horizon works? You have to beat the game?
Well, you have to own the game, is what he's saying.
Yeah, you have to own the game. But with Horizon, you do have to beat it to do the DLC. But nonetheless, you still have to own it. Now, the weird thing is on PC, for that DLC, it's $10 less, and on the Nintendo Switch, it's $10 more.
What, Monster Hunter?
Yeah, that DLC. So it's $49.99 for the DLC on Switch, and it's $29.99 on PC.
Makes sense.
The heck? That's so weird.
Makes sense. Well, this is the big one. This is the big daddy this week. Jedi Survivor. Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Next gen consoles as PS5, Series X and S, and PC. Releases for $70 on the 28th.
I think preload just went live today.
Yeah. And there was a little bit of
this might be
controversy on this game about the install a little bit, because I guess if you buy the physical version, it only comes with like an hour of the game or something like that.
Yeah.
You got to download the rest. I personally don't care about that stuff anymore.
This is a day one for me.
I've already bought it.
Already, yeah, same.
I did pop in Jedi Fallen Order a little bit, and it's really impressive. I still have trouble with these Souls style games.
I mean,
you know?
if you have trouble with Star, it's like the easiest Soul Styles game there is. You put it on easy.
I finally remember how I told you my game was fucked before.
Yeah.
I got to that part and I kept redoing like my little meditation areas and got it unfucked. But then I got it unfucked and I was able to get to this point. Then like an AT-AT jumped on the roof or something, dropped down on the roof, and then it killed me and I turned it off.
Well, this one I think you maybe will use a blaster in it, so it may be a little easier for you.
Yeah, I beat the first one, and then I was starting to do my second playthrough like on a harder difficulty. It's one of those games. I don't know what sucks about the game. The first one that I didn't really like was the map. It was like,
oh, they got droid
atrocious.
deccaddo. I haven't even really watched the trailers. I just know I'm going to buy it. That's awesome.
But love the combat.
Yeah, I did have fun though in that period of time. I did make me want to go through and finally finish that game. So I'll probably do that before I pick up Jedi Survivor. Man, those trailers for this game look so fucking good. I have to admit, like, it's really, really impressive. Yeah. And what was the one you said was missing here, Jasper?
Alien Stranded Dawn, I think is what it's called.
That's for next week, you said. There was another one.
No, the one next week is
okay.
Age of Wonders.
We'll just bring this up here. Alien Stranded Dawn.
Or Stranded Alien Dawn.
Stranded Alien Dawn. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. This game looks really cool, actually. I'm interested in this. It's a strategy style game. You kind of build up a base and like fend off waves of aliens. So this one I'll probably pick up eventually as well.
It's kind of like a State of Decay like thing.
State of Decay in outer space.
Kind of. Yeah, management of your like community and stuff like that. Yeah.
Looks like a Outer Worlds.
What?
This looks absolutely nothing like Outer Worlds.
It's like the art. Yes, it does. The art style looks like Outer Worlds. You should do a vote to see if people agree.
I think you can be the one person that votes yes on that.
Chat,
It'll be me.
Put a yes if this reminds you of Outer Worlds or Outer Wilds.
And do know if you disagree.
Were you talking about Outer Worlds or Outer Wilds? 3-bit.
That'd be Outer Worlds.
Outer Worlds.
Okay, yeah. If you think this game reminds you of Outer Worlds, say yes. If you think that 3-bit's an idiot, say 3-bit's an idiot. I would like to know either say yes or 3-bit's an idiot. You can't say no. I want to see 3-bit's an idiot in the chat.
Somebody saying it reminds him or reminds her of Fallout. So that's kind of Outer Worlds-ish.
I'm seeing too many no's. I don't want to see the word no. I want to see the word 3-bit is. I want to see the words 3-bit is an idiot. It's either yes or 3-bit is an idiot. Stop being nice, everybody. Everybody's too nice to you, 3-bit. You're too likable. It's that damn smile.
Right. Some of the plants. But look at the plants, right? It had those purpley plants. You know, it had the cool sky going on. You know,
a purple plants. You're like Game Rant. Okay, you're like, oh, this is gonna be just like Starfield. Oh my god. Hey,
Here's what Starfield did wrong that
Starfield's
this
got-
game does right.
Starfield needs to justify its existence to exist in the same gaming
We already got
space that
No Man's
Aliens
Sky. Why would we
Stranded
need
Dawn.
Starfield?
Yeah. So
What do
harsh.
they
Come
say?
on.
What's that game called? I can't even remember. But to me, you know what? I think it looks like Outer Worlds, and that's what matters.
Yeah, this game will never be able to live in the same world as Outer Worlds. No,
I bet you if I take a screenshot, I could fool some people.
No, you absolutely could not fool some people with a screenshot of that game, The Outer Worlds. They're completely different. Like everything about it, down to its core essence of genre, is fucking different. You want to say
they're both space
Look,
games.
see, you're letting the building blind you.
you want to
okay?
say
Don't
because they
take
have the same
building out of
shade
it.
of fucking purple on a plant, it's the same game as Outer Worlds? Hey, everybody. I know you may be confused about what you're seeing, but they just happened to choose the same color code for the purple plant as an Outer Worlds. But trust me, it's not the same game. This is no affiliation to Outer Worlds. I know it's confusing for you because of the purple plant, but it's different.
Hey, I'm just saying. I'm sure the developers had some inspiration going on. Maybe Outer Worlds was in their folders.
Maybe.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's possible. You know more. You're a developer. You obviously know way more than we do. So that's scary. Fuck. My God.
How do I
Maybe it looks
download
nothing like it?
How do I download Star Wars this week? I bought it, but I don't know how to download it.
I'll fall asleep.
I love you, man. I'm disappointed in the chat though. They were all too nice to you. Like you're too nice. Like they understand how likable of a person you are, and they refuse to be mean to you, 3-bit. I thought we had more pull on this. We wanted insults at 3-bit. That's the whole point of this. This was the. I don't really care that he actually thought the game looked the same. I just wanted you to insult 3-bit.
Yeah, this chat is awesome. You guys,
I mean,
you guys know what's up.
This dude's already like done a million times more than any of us ever will in our entire lives.
Yeah,
and he's only like 28 years old.
He went gardening last week. I haven't done that.
He's like made movies,
Hey.
pitches to Netflix for projects. He's like worked for Marvel. He's met Deion Sanders and Mark Cuban. He's been in a elevator with what's her name?
It was a trailer. It was a trailer.
You've been in a trailer with Nina Dobrev.
Yeah, she was walking out of the
made video games for,
and it was really embarrassing.
You've seen things that we can only dream of, like Fable and Starfield.
Yeah,
you know, and
it's gonna be awesome.
And he
I am the
thinks
Affleck duck, or I dance as the that's true.
Affleck duck animator.
But you know what?
Gardner.
You guys could do it too.
Yeah.
Gardner.
And weirdly, he says the weirdest things at times. Man,
yeah,
you do give me
but
confidence.
that was
though,
I thought
because,
that was
almond.
Yeah, like I can't imagine how some of your interviews go.
almond.
And you're like, hey, 3-bit, come in here. Would you like to, do an interview for this?
Some almond milk? No, I want some almond milk.
Would you like to interview for this for our new animator position on Fable? He's like, sure. How do you turn this Xbox on? They're like, 3-bit. You know what? You're so likable and impressive. Look at that smile. You get the job. Like, thanks.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I don't
I feel like that's how it would go. Like, how do you turn this camera on?
So, 3-bit, you've been told about this interview for about 3 weeks that it was going to be on Zoom. And we're here for the meeting. 3-bit's like, hold on, I have to install it real quick. Yeah, let me install Zoom.
Hold on, I'm trying to download it. It says iOS, but I'm on Windows, so how do I get the iOS version?
What's an exe file?
Yeah, my God. But we love you, man. nonetheless. And speaking of that, we got to get out of here. So where can everybody find you, 3-bit?
Everyone can find me on the Bird app, the Twitters at i3bits. I posted my gardening. Nothing related to gaming. So if you're interested in the occasional gardening.
To be honest, with that picture though, all I saw was like a field of wild plants and weeds, and then I just saw a dirt patch.
Man, that was hours of work, Jasper. I was out in the sun.
It looks like you just fucked up the yard. It's like, there used to be grass.
They told us to do that.
I thought the same thing. The before and after is like, isn't it supposed to be like you just fucking took it all away?
It was in the way. It was weeds.
You turned a beautiful grassland into desert, is what you did. Amazing.
Well, if you want to see dirt patches, then that's where you guys can follow me.
I thought the same damn thing when I saw that.
That's so funny. You guys can follow me on this show Mondays, and then I pop up on other shows when I can. It's been busy, so I don't know when I'm going to be on other shows. Might be on Friday. Might be doing my show on Wednesday. We'll see. Love y'all. Everybody in the chat, you guys are on my back. You knew it looked like Outer Worlds. Appreciate y'all. Even I had some haters out there, I saw, but you know, the real ones knew.
Yeah.
That's what matters. Love y'all. See ya on the next episode.
Thanks for a bit. Fuzzy, how about you, man? Where else can we see you this week?
It was awesome being on here with you guys tonight, and everyone in the chat. Thank you guys for coming out, and for anybody that catches us on replay, thank you so much. For those that want to hear my rambles on anything gaming related, just follow me on Twitter. You can also find me on Breakfast with Boom Friday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern time on Double Barrel Gaming, and then later that evening on the Xbox Ultimate Podcast right here on this network at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Look forward to seeing you guys there.
Thanks, Fuzzy. Appreciate you as always. And Jasper, what about you, man?
Yo, check it out. Lord Jasper Twitter, Lord Master Jasper YouTube, AI Game News Twitter, all that fun stuff. And then it's 10 o'clock Monday and Friday night right here on the Fun Speculation Network for FSP and Xbox Ultimate. So that's where I'm at. That's what I do. Check it out and have fun.
Yeah, right on, man. Appreciate you. So we'll be back on Thursday for PM in the PM with Pong Soul and I. Go be live at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Then we'll have Friday night Xbox Ultimate Podcast and maybe ABK news on Wednesday. If there is substantial stuff that happens, maybe we'll end up doing some kind of stream on Wednesday. Who knows? But I want to thank you all for being here. I appreciate you. You rock. Thanks for helping us grow and all the support you give to the channel. If you do like the content, remember, hit the like button, share it out, subscribe to the channel. And if you are watching after the fact and you heard this last segment where we talked about that game, don't be fearful to say in the comments, because the chat was scared that 3-bit is an idiot. It's okay. We will accept the comments. 3-bit does respond to comments at times, so we won't mind that. No, I'm just messing with 3-bit. You're not an idiot. You're smart. Too smart. So you need to be knocked down a peg a time or two, I think. Yep. But appreciate you guys. You all rock. Again, have a good one. Peace.
Later.
Bye.
Love y'all. Bye.